What's that?
Jesus is born.
Okay.
Kitty, you have to stay with me, okay?
Okay.
And so would we keep the kitty with me?
No, just let him go.
Let him go. He'll sit there. Read your book.
Yeah, he'll sit there. Just read your book.
I skipped at the end of the book. I'm just getting to the start. Kitty, you know better than that. Okay. There was a girl named Mary. She loved God very much. Mary knew a man called Joseph. They were going to be married soon. One day, God sent an angel to Mary. The angel said, "You will have a baby boy. He is God's son." Mary asked, "How can it be? I'm not married yet." The angel said to Mary, "God can do anything." Mary and Joseph got married. They loved God's son growing in Mary's tummy. Joseph and Mary headed to go on a long trip. They went to Bethlehem. It is far away. Mary and Joseph needed a place to stay. Mary was going to have the baby soon, but there were no rooms left. A man said, "You can sleep in my stable." That night, a baby boy was born. The baby was Jesus. Mary wrapped Jesus in a cloth. She put him in a manger. So the way I colored it was different. See, he had a blue clothing. I colored it blue. Angels came to some shepherds. An angel said, "Good news! A Savior was born today." The shepherds went to see baby Jesus. The shepherds were so happy, they shouted, "Jesus is born! He is our Savior!" Sometime later, wise men saw a new star. It meant a baby king was born. I know who the baby king is. The wise men followed the star on their way. They stopped at a king.
To see King Herod.
King Herod. Yeah, our light bulbs aren't working.
Reading.
The wise men went to ask King
Herod.
about the baby king. King Herod was mean. He tried to trick the wise men. "Find the baby king for me so I can worship him," he said. King Herod had planned, "I want to get rid of Jesus." So, see that page? That's where he gets excited.
He's got a mean face.
Yep. The star leaded to
Led.
the wise men all the way to Jesus. They gave Jesus gifts. The angel told the wise men, "Don't go back. King Herod." So the wise men took a different road home. King Herod was found out. He was very angry. King Herod yelled, "Find the baby boy. I am the only king." An angel told Joseph, "Take your family far away. You are not safe here." So Joseph took Mary and Jesus far, far away. Jesus grew and grew. Mary and Joseph loved Jesus so much. One day an angel said to Joseph, "It is safe. Now you can go home." Joseph, Mary, and Jesus went back home. Jesus grew up and told many people about God's love.
And that is the story of Christmas.
Hi, everybody!
Hi everybody, welcome back on this week's fantasy.
Yes.
Another episode of the Windy City Fantasy Football Show, and it's decided after 15 weeks of grueling trials, tribulations, waiver wire junk,
Round one.
the playoffs are now set.
Playoffs are set.
The 4 teams that are going to be vying for the trophy in 2021 have been set.
This is now round one of week
Right.
after the whole weeks are done for the day.
So let's just go ahead and start with this week's results.
Yep.
Yes, results. I should say.
Hey,
Here you go.
Oh,
so read them off.
Dexter's back right. Ugh. Okay, so Dexter's back right beat the remix on me too. Both of us won once.
104.9 to 75.9.
Yeah, that was a good score. Like, I should say that was a good score.
Thank you.
And I don't think Mommy's the first seed.
No, I'm the 3rd seed. But we'll get there. Let's read the rest of the
Let's
results.
just do the results, son. We'll get
Oh,
them in rapid
Hannah
order.
beat it all bar go bite.
139.72 to 111.48.
Field of Dreams beat it Chicago Mamba Bear.
86.8 to 82.36.
Super Kamario Brothers beat it Rainbow Kittles.
87.34 to 82.56.
Hey, I know Katie. That made me look cute.
Stop
Gosh.
rocking. Just sit there.
Naj Mahal beat it Chili with Mahomes.
116.94 to 84.34.
The INS Krakens beat it Henry Danger.
133, the highest score of the week, to 111.75.
Carson had 139.72.
Okay, fine. I was just trying to get excited for Jameson.
He did get his 3rd win! Yay!
Woo-hoo!
So that's...
I was worried if Jameson would win.
That does indeed, as we said, set the final standings, and the final standings, which set the playoffs, are...
Naj Mahal is the only one in first because no one beat her.
Yep, at 11-4.
we only have one settled team for
Second team
second team, Rainbow Kittles,
at 10
followed
and 5.
by Dax Street Backride and Super Kamaria Brothers in third.
Both at 9 and 6.
So that is
Yes.
how the playoffs are set.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Round number 1 will feature the number 1 seed, which is Sue, the Naj Mahal, versus the number 4 seed, Rick, which is Super Kamario Brothers.
What?
And
I thought
the
that-
number 2 seed, Rainbow Kittles, versus the number 3 seed, Dax Street's Back.
Beep, 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 beep. We can move on from that.
Well, yeah, so we have a few things that we normally talk about. So let's kind of just,
Stop here for a moment.
okay.
For what reason?
Oops. I want to get moving on with this.
All right.
Hilna and the Remix Sound Me Too will be playing against each other.
But that's at the end.
That's at the end, buddy. So
So-
let's just settle down.
So,
You know this is a movie.
so just wrap up of some of the scoring and the stats of our league for the season. The highest score was Sue in week 5, 206.12
Alan's Rule.
results. The
Alan
lowest
Rule.
score was Carson in week 9, which was 60.5. So, 2 big extremes there. Sue obviously had the highest record at 11 and 4. Jen had the most overall points at 2006. The highest player point was Jonathan Taylor, who had 53.4 in week 11. That was when he had his 5 touchdowns. And then last was the trends that we were talking about, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. Jameson was the biggest. On the app it said underachiever, but I'll just say his ranking changed the most because he was number 1 after the draft and he ends at number 11. Delaney also went from number 2 to number 8, and
He ends at number 12. He dropped 11 spots.
no, he's
No,
Emily
he's
is-
12.
He dropped 11 spots. You're right, 1 to 12. Sorry, excuse me.
Okay.
Delaney went from number 2 to number 8. And on the flip side, Sue went from number 7 to number 1. So those were the biggest movers of the year. So just a few little fun stats of our league for that. A lot of
I want to get back to this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 teams tied for 7th. That's Henry Danger, All Bark All Bite, Chicago Mama Bear, and Field of Dreams. We have in 11th place Silly with Mahomes and Jameson in 12th, as always. I can believe Jameson has 3-12-0.
All right. So interesting coulda, shoulda, wouldas this week because it was all winners, and all it really would have done is increased their scores. So we have three people, 5 total coulda, shoulda, wouldas. So Carson has 2. He has Tyler Boyd, who had 20.6, and Russell Gage, who had 23.1. Rick had Jeff Wilson Jr., who had 22.9, and Sue had Christian Kirk, who had 24.4, and Amon Ross St. Brown, who had 23.5.
See, this is what happens when you live off a diet of hot cocoa.
Oh, I start burping in the middle of a video?
Yeah. I don't think I've seen her ingest anything else other than coffee and hot cocoa in the month of December.
Not true. I've also had hot tea.
She just lives off liquids.
Pretty much. So, all right, that is the last coulda, shoulda, woulda of the regular season. So there you go.
Show off.
Now it's time for Mommy's favorite segment.
What is that?
Booms bust big out.
With some enthusiasm, please.
The big booms bust and big
Outs.
outs.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So,
As we move on with the bust and big outs, we have, I don't know, only 3 because this is my trouble.
all right. So, our quarterback booms for the week were Tyler Huntley, 35.9,
Tyler
and Patrick
Huntley.
Mahomes, 29.6.
How did he not make a? Oh, he's a quarterback. You wouldn't
Coulda,
know the
shoulda,
rules.
woulda. The rules are over 20 points, not a quarterback on your bench. If it would have changed your score, like to where you would have beat me, I would have included it. But it was only a 15-point difference from what your other score was, and I beat you by more than that.
Our sturdy little fella.
He had Tyler Huntley on his
Loyal.
bench.
There.
Now that we've got that well established.
We're gonna have to look at this like the NFL and adjust these rules into the next season.
Hello.
Put that hat back on your head. I think Daddy said you couldn't take it off.
He's broken.
All right.
Let's move on.
The boom running backs are Duke Johnson. Remember him? He had 28.7. And Jonathan Taylor, who had 26.
Okay.
Cooper Kupp, wide receivers. Cooper Kupp, 37.7. And Tyreek Hill, 35.8. The boom tight ends were Travis Kelce with 44.1 and Mark Andrews with 38.6. You're both in trouble because now it's locked. The boom defense was the Steelers with 15 and the boom kicker was Kyle Fairbairn with 16.
Stop touching it.
All right, well, if we can get this one to sit still for just a minute, I was going to go over just quick, I promise, the booms for the year, since we're doing this year-end sort of segment.
Really want to take this
really,
one now.
As Matt pointed out to me earlier, really, you could just look at the position rankings on the app. But it's funner when I tell it to you. So, this is where
It's more fun.
this is where the soundtrack goes. Crickets, crickets, crickets. So, the boom quarterbacks for the year were Josh Allen. He scored 329.86 points.
Oh, yeah.
And Justin Herbert, who had 318.72. So that would be Matt and Allen's quarterback and Sue's quarterback. The boom running backs were Jonathan Taylor, who had 358.4, and Austin Eckler, who had 297.7. I believe those are both Emily's.
Yeah.
Those
I find this wide receiver stat kind of interesting. The number one wide receiver in fantasy football was Cooper Kupp with 397.1. The next wide receiver is Justin Jefferson with 291.1. So Cooper Kupp scored over 100 more fantasy points than his closest competitor. So that's a position domination. The boom tight ends for the year were Mark Andrews. I kind of feel like he's come out of nowhere, but based on these points, it's not. He has 255.2, and number 2 is Travis Kelce with 248. The two best defenses are the Patriots defense is number 1 with 136, and the Cowboys defense is number 2 with 132. The best kicker is Nick Folk from New England. He's gotten 149 points. And the next is Matt Gay for the Rams with 137. And Alan took all the pep out of that segment. So that's just my voice for ya.
I get lumped in with this.
They.
Bus. Like Alan.
Bus.
Tom
Bus.
Brady had a very off day, whatever it was. He threw a tablet and everybody was...
Why don't you just say game?
Sure. He threw a tablet and everybody was up in arms about it. Tom Brady had 4.76 points. No touchdowns. And, well, obviously, no points for the first time for him in, like, 15 years. So, that was interesting. Running backs, Najee Harris only had 4.6. And Alvin Kamara had 5.1. Those are both very low-scoring games for those two gentlemen. The worst wide receiver, the one, I just went off the ones that, like, people have. The two bottom wide receivers in our league were OBJ and Michael Pittman. Give me 5. Thank you. They both had 1.7.
I said
My
no.
receiver and his receiver. Amari Cooper had 2.8, and Brandon Ayuk had 4.6. So it seems like the Niners are still trying to figure out how to move the ball around between multiple people. CJ Uzuma was the bottom tight end with 4.8, and Gronk only had 4.9. And last but not least, the worst defenses were the Packers and the Chargers, who both scored -1. Last but not least, big outs. It was a scary week in the NFL. I told Matt and another person, if Alan ever wants to play football, this is the week I'm going to show him of NFL football as to why he can't play. So there was 3 people that I saw carted off the field with head injuries. Donald Parham Jr.
Donald Parham.
From the
Chargers.
Elijah Riley is a safety for the Jets, also got carted off, and Teddy Bridgewater for the Broncos. So, anyway, football is an actual sport. It's dangerous. We have it for our enjoyment. So, something to think about on this Christmas holiday. Other big outs. Nelson Aguilar has a concussion. Zane Gonzalez, who is the kicker for the Panthers. Yeah. Yes, the Panthers. Hurt his quad in pregame warm-ups, and it was pretty funny to see. So then they decided, because they didn't have any kind of a backup kicker, they decided to just have open tryouts for any position player to go out on the field and see if anybody could kick a field goal or an extra point. Newsflash, nobody can, which is kind of sad. But it was pretty funny for them to have, like, on-the-field tryouts in, like, real time. Thoughts?
Owie.
Hmm?
Owie.
Julio Jones re-injured his hamstring, so even if he recovers, they are probably going to hold him out for the playoffs. Hope he makes the playoffs. Pat Freiermuth got a concussion. Sterling Shepard tore his ACL. He's done for the season. Chris Godwin tore his ACL. Done for the season. Mike Evans has a hamstring injury and is doubtful for this week anyway. And same with Leonard Fournette, hamstring injury, doubtful for this week. Last but not least, more COVID is making its way around. There's currently 213 players with positive cases. 51 were placed on the COVID-19 list on Monday, 21 on Tuesday. Obviously, we can't go through all of those, so I'm just going to do some big names that people might know. Travis Kelce, the Chiefs kicker, Harrison Butker, Joey Bosa, who would be playing on Thursday night, Jared Goff, Tyreek Hill, Cole Beasley. And the reason that Cole Beasley is important is because he is not vaccinated. He is very famously not vaccinated. So due to the NFL protocols, he has to quarantine for at least 10 days, no matter what.
Whoa, 10 days, dude?
Yeah.
That would be like 8
Your
hours.
whole Christmas break.
Yeah. It would be the whole Christmas break.
Sammy Watkins, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Mike Carter and Elijah Moore of the Jets, and then last but not least, Phillies coach Nick Sirianni. So Nick Sirianni is the third coach that has had COVID. So that
can't be correct either because Matt Nagy, Kevin Stefanski, and Sean Payton have all had COVID already.
They didn't have Matt Nagy on there.
Matt Nagy had COVID. Not recently. He had it in more the middle of the season.
Okay, that would be why. Because right now there's 3 coaches technically that quote unquote have it.
Are in protocol now.
Yes. Sean Payton, the Browns coach, I can't remember his name.
Kevin Stefanski.
Thank you. And Phillies coach Nick Sirianni.
Context is everything.
Yes. This is going to be a weird show. We've made this weird. I hate it. All right, so that brings us to
This week's matchup.
matchups.
And we only had 4 winners today.
Well, so should I wait to do the stats until after you do your picks, or should we talk about his stats now?
We should really get
No.
to this week's matchups.
We can-
Mommy, could you please?
I feel like this is the kind of thing we should have discussed before we hit record.
Yeah, we should have discussed this.
Before is fine.
All right. Well, then quickly.
Mommy.
No. And
I wanna
when it's not
have
on, then you have to sit there and participate. So, Alan has been doing his picks since week 9. So, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 13, 14, 15. 7 weeks.
It's a good thing you've got fingers.
12, 1 o'clock. So, he did 7 weeks. His average is 2 out of 6.
Me?
And his best week was Thanksgiving week, where he got 5 out of 6.
Me?
Yeah.
Are those all me?
Because
Or did we just have Jameson Tim?
no, just use. So the first week he did it, he got Matt and Sam right for 2 out of 6. The next week, week 10, he got Jen Delaney and Sam right for 3 out of 6. Week 11, he got Jen, Rick, and Matt right for 3 out of 6. Week 12, Thanksgiving, he got Jen, Delaney, Lindsay, Carson, and Matt correct. So 5 out of 6, that was his best week. Week 13, Jen and Michaela for 2 out of 6. Week 14, Rick and Matt for 2 out of 6. Week 15, Rick and Carson for 2 out of 6. So in case you can't figure that out, his downfall is he likes to pick either all the top or all the bottom teams. And a lot of times that just doesn't quite work out. He also has a few favorite people he likes to pick. He obviously likes to pick Matt and Jen when they're not playing each other. He likes to pick Rick. He hates to pick Michaela. And he also kind of likes to pick Sam. So,
You can tell this family is not very good at math because the easiest way to go through all of that would have been to give his percentage.
33%.
Is it 33% or are you just making that up?
I'm making that up. No, that would be 1/3. He got 1/3 of them right. Because you would divide that down.
Well, you would total up the entire and then take how many he had and then, divide.
This is definitely something for the Rappaports, who are much smarter than all of us. So,
And apparently much better prepared.
pretty much.
Alan rules. Alan rules.
I think Alan's ego maybe got in his way a little bit, though. I'm not going to lie, because almost every week you had 2 out of 6. That's not the best.
And he has made sounds and noises and made a spectacle of himself sitting here and
Most
has
of the
contributed
time.
very little. You're gonna love watching this video when you're like a lot older.
I know, right?
And listening to your parents just berate you.
I was going to say one thing earlier in regards to the scoring. It was a pretty low scoring week overall in the NFL, and people took notice of that. Now, granted, a bunch of the games got moved around, so there should have been more games on, say, Saturday and Sunday, but on Sunday there was 10 football games and 40 touchdowns scored, and that is the fewest on a Sunday with 10 games since 1994.
Okay.
It seems kind of crazy, but I will say for our fantasy football stats, there's just not a lot of touchdowns. So.
Give me something.
Okay. Last but not least, for this Polar Express train, which is rolling down the tracks, folks.
This week's matchups. Sue versus Rick. Sam versus
That slow down.
Sue and Rick.
Here, pull it up on the tablet.
Backstreet's Back Right versus.
No.
Go to schedule.
That totally scared me when I did that. Backstreet's Back Right versus Rainbow Kittles. Super Mario Brothers versus Oh Hilna. A Remix Alan Me Too versus Oh Hilna.
Stop! Start over. Start over.
And slow
down.
down.
Take a breath in between each one. Merry Christmas.
What? Is this kind of funny or what?
No, it's not funny. Please just read who's playing who. Start with the one.
Backstreet's Back Right versus I really need to restart that. Backstreet's Back Right versus Rainbow Kittles.
Okay, next one.
Super Mario Brothers versus the Taj Mahal.
Okay.
The Remix Alan and Me 2 versus Oh Hilna.
Okay.
I hope you don't beat us up, Carson, because last time that was the one I was very surprised.
So what's the next game?
All Bark, All Bite versus Henry Danger. Field of Dreams versus Chicago Mama Bear.
They play again?
Yup. They played last week. They play again this week based on their placement.
Why do they have to do this?
So Austin won last week. Hopefully Lindsay makes a comeback.
Mistake. And the final game.
INS Krakens versus Chili with no homes.
Well,
Let's see if you can turn your record around.
it's time for
Oh.
Alan Says. Okay, we're going to start off with the important games.
Okay, well,
Backstreet's Back versus Rainbow Kittles. Who's going to win?
Backstreet's Back. All right.
Yay!
Super Mario Brothers versus the Taj Mahal. Who's going to win?
Super Mario Brothers.
Ooh.
Two top teams. The remix.
I bet I know
The
who the rest
Remix
of them are
Alan
gonna
and Me
be.
2 versus Oh Hilna. Who's going to win?
The remix Salad and Me Too.
Shocker.
All Bark, All Bite versus Henry Danger. Who's going to win?
All Bark, All Bite.
Field of Dreams versus Chicago Mama Bear. Who's going to win?
Field of Dreams.
And INF Krakens versus Chillin' with Mahomes. Who's going to win?
INF Krakens.
Mm-hmm.
This is why he's like 33.33%.
We had some basketball games.
At the bottom.
Oh, dat. No one cares about basket.
Chirp, 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 chirp. So, lastly, the games this week are, we have some Christmas games, which is good. The Thursday game is the 49ers at the Titans. Short week for them. The Christmas games are the Browns at the Packers and the Colts at the Cardinals. The Sunday night game is the Washington football team at the Cowboys. And the Monday night game is the Dolphins at the Saints.
The Bears also have a game.
They do.
Yeah.
It's on Sunday during the day.
I'll check the time they play first. Sunday, 3-5.
3:05 p.m. They play the Seahawks. So, we've only got a couple more episodes of this because we're down to the end. Who is going to... Everybody's walking away. All right, cool.
Sit down.
All right, well, this has been quite the episode.
Yes.
If you're seeing what I'm seeing right now, this is we're going to go to the hospital later. We really are.
I don't want Mommy to get hurt. Please.
Well, she's trying to. Oh, for the love of Pete.
What the? She wants both cats? Oh, no.
Take that one.
Oh, brother. Okay.
From our little family to everybody out there in fantasy football land.
Happy Kwanzaa.
He means Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Oh, Daddy, your phone has low battery.
Then turn it off.
Close.
Bring me the camera.
Goodbye.
You could be a part of it.
Did you shut it off?
Oh, the camera was like...
Just bring it here.
I
Don't touch it.